appreciate that update, hard as it is to hear. Joining us now, trial attorney Karen Conti, author of Killing Time with John Wayne Gacy, defending America's most evil serial killer on death row. Thank you for your time on this, yet again, horrific case. The suspect is an illegal immigrant, we know. He has a criminal history. Is he assigned a public defender, Karen, in this case? Does he have the same legal rights to an attorney?
He does have the same legal rights. Immigrants in this country, whether they're documented or undocumented, have the exact same rights. So the Miranda rights, the attorney will be appointed for him. And if he can't afford it, there will be a good lawyer who will be his attorney. So yes, same rights as anybody else.
Okay, so that said, how will his case be handled given his illegal status? Any differently?
Probably not, but what is going to happen is he will go through his prosecution. My guess is that the prosecution is going to seek the death penalty in this case because of the brutality and the young nature of this woman and the senseless nature of the crime and the public outcry. And he will be prosecuted, he will be sentenced, and he will be processed. Now, if he ever gets parole, ever gets out of prison, then he will be deported back to Venezuela. But my guess is that that's never going to happen.
We just heard some of the gruesome details from the probable cause. What's happening right now investigatively, and how does that tie legally to trying to convict him of this murder?
Yes, we know that there were some eyewitnesses that saw something. We don't know exactly what yet. We also know that there were some security cameras that caught him somewhere near the crime scene. But my guess is that there's going to be DNA at the crime scene that they're processing right now, because all jurors like to have DNA. We're in a world of CSI. We're in a world that jurors really want to see that DNA tying the defendant to the victim. And I think that's what they're doing right now.
How important will a motive be in trying to understand the why in a case like this?
That's a really good question. And I will tell you that jurors like a motive, too. But in a case like this, I just don't know. I mean, was he intending to rape her? I mean, that's the question I think we're all thinking. If he wanted to rape her, why didn't he rape her? Unless he was caught up in the act and he saw someone and ran away, and that was his intention. So, yeah, it's important, but I don't think it's necessary in a case like this if the other evidence is there.
Is there any likelihood that he would be deported before his case is tried?
No, he will be processed and he will be charged. He will go to trial, plead guilty, be tried, whatever the case, serve out his sentence, and then only if he ever gets parole, he will be deported.
The question being asked right now, did he slip through law enforcement's radar? He had a criminal history. The answer is probably yes, but maybe the more important question would be, how often is this happening? What do you know?
Well, what we know is he had a charge against him in New York State. And usually what happens is if he gets let out on parole, there's a thing called a detainer, which means he's illegal, so they can put him into ICE, which is where they hold him then and deport him after there's a conviction or an acquittal. So what happened in New York, is my understanding, is that ICE didn't move in quick enough, so he was released and not given that detainer. So had he been given that detainer, this may not have happened.
And what about his brother? How might he play into all of this, working on the campus close by?
Well, he's illegal, too, but to my knowledge, he hasn't committed any crimes. Now, if they tie him to the crime, of course, he could be a co-conspirator. But from what we know right now, he was just living there and working there.
One final question for you, Karen. Research shows about 50% of Americans believe that illegal immigrants are criminals, which is not true. What does the data show on this?
Yeah, the data is interesting. Native Americans, people born in this country, are twice as likely to commit violent crimes, 2.5 more likely to commit drug crimes, and 4 times more likely to commit property crimes like theft. So whether or not you hear these statistics and you want to believe them, illegal immigrants generally are not as crime, prone than people who actually are born in this country, and that's just the truth. But again, because of the nature of this crime, we want to blame someone, we want to blame a group of people, but we've got to be careful to do that when the facts aren't present.
Yeah, well, a horrific case based on the facts we know so far, and the death of this young woman and a future nurse here wanting to do good for so many people. Karen Conti, thanks for your time.
You're welcome, Marni.